Hello, and here we are on today's episode of Worm Composting with Lainey and Bill. And we're here to walk you through the process of starting your own worm bin at home. So we've showed you the amazing worm bins we're fortunate to have established here in Sebastopol, and now we're going to take a step back and do more of a how-to instructional guide. So this is, I wouldn't say a minimally sized worm bin, but a small home-sized worm bin that should be able to get you started with the process with room for error, but also the growth of a healthy colony. So this box, you can lift it if you're, reasonably strong, and could go easily in a basement or garage area of your home. So Bill, can you tell us more about this box, the materials and dimensions that you use?
So the dimensions are going across here. The width is 15 inches. The length is 34.5 inches, so just short of 3 feet. And then the height is also going to be about 15 inches. So as Lainey said, this is an approximate minimum size, but you could go smaller. What we're trying to balance here is having it large enough so we can get the worms comfortable and active from the very start. You may see a lot of smaller ones. If the smaller you get, then the more sensitive the balance is. And if you get it wrong, you may lose your worms, or it gets too smelly or whatever. So this lets you have enough of a mass so the worms are going to be happy from the start, and it's much easier to work with and less vulnerable to get it just off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And you used 3/4 inch plywood to build this, right, Bill?
We did 3/4 inch plywood, had some left over from another project. It's nice because you don't have to worry about fasteners, just 2-inch number 8 screws. Just pop those right in and you have a nice worm bin.
Yeah. So we're gonna get it started. We're gonna start the bottom off with this leafy material harvested from the yard.
So we're trying to have you be able to start with things that you should be able to find most anywhere. So if you have a place where there are trees, you can get some leaves.
Yeah, so we're starting with leaves and a little bit of compost.
Yeah, go ahead. Put
a few more?
Okay. Leaves. Why not?
2 more leaves. Yeah, we're going to get the bottom nice and coated.
So that's where we want, so it's all going to be, that's a nice environment for the worms all the way down. Mm-hmm. And here's some finished compost, but this is just any kind of soil that's already just not too packed. So we'll put that in. Yeah. Okay, this is a beautiful bed for the worms. They're going to be so happy. So then this is pretty much composted, so you don't have to worry about the worms getting too hot by any means. And then the worms like to go, they'll eventually eat up all those leaves, so that'll be, eventually everything there will be worm compost. So then what we do, how about worms? Okay, well what we did was we went over to our worm boxes and we took some of the resident worms and checked with them that they wanted to be pioneers in this new box, and that's all good. So we'll see if they can show themselves. Immediately they start hiding. But there you can see.
There are worms. So we're using our established worm colony, but if you order red wigglers online, you could just start with that as your pioneering worm population.
And as we mentioned before, these boxes were started 8 years ago with just about 8 to 15 worms. They're probably more like, we didn't count them all and we didn't give them names, but they're probably, I would say, 40 or 50 worms in there.
Oh yeah, there's a big bunch of them. You could name them if you wanted to.
Right.
Get extra creative.
So this is interesting. They were having a particular feast there. So there's probably more like 100 worms actually.
Yeah.
So they're happy in there, and so we'll give them their first meal. So this would be something where, well, you just see what happens here. So we have eggshells, we have some cabbage, carrots, scrapings, we have some onion peels, and we have some apples and bananas. Oh, what a great meal! By the way, they do make these containers that are really nice to keep on your kitchen counter to put your kitchen scraps in. So when we put this in, we spread it out so so this is the main thing that can go wrong here is if you let everything be just bunched together, and so it didn't have enough air, or it was just too dense for the worms to get into. It could get kind of smelly. But this way, nice to help the worms a little bit by breaking up the eggshells. That's fine tuning. You don't have to worry about that. But there's a nice layer here. So the worms will be able to sense what they want to go for, and they'll be able to just get their meal there at the pace they want. Now you wouldn't want to leave it uncovered, because that's when fruit flies or other things can develop. So we have just again some more dry leaves, which we'll just crunch some of that up on the top.
Mix it all in. Nice cover. And Bill, how long will a worm bin this size last? Will you have to upgrade to a bigger bin soon, or?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's another thing with the smaller bins. You're constantly wrestling with them getting too full. With this, you can see we have lots of room, so we could keep layering it up, and we can turn it, and we'll keep track of it. So we'll show people how it progresses over time.
Definitely.
They'll have to
Stay
come
tuned.
back. But you can let it build up, and this would last easily. Again, it depends how much kitchen scraps you're generating. But it could easily last a year. And then at that point, if you haven't harvested anything, you just have beautiful worm compost. For what we had 15 inches there, you could have 10 inches of beautiful worm finished compost.
Yeah.
But what you can also do, depending upon, you'll find out your pacing with the feeding them. And if it was building up a lot, what you could do is just sweep some over to the side, get some of the finished stuff over the side, so the worms would kind of gravitate to where the fresh fruit is, and then you could harvest that. So
just keep going. Yeah.
So there's enough of a mass for them to keep going, have a place to go, place to put the new stuff, and take some out as you want. So it could last for years, depending upon your scale of feeding them.
Well, that's awesome. That seems very resilient and sustainable in these times of a real need for that. So stay tuned for progress reports on our growing worm colony in this small bin, and we will keep you posted over the next couple weeks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.